Greetings, seekers of the occult and the esoteric. In the mysterious universe of metaphysics and consciousness exploration, few phenomena capture our imagination quite like the enigmatic entities that inhabit the astral plane. Since the dawn of human consciousness, accounts from mystics, shamans, and astral travelers have described encounters with beings from dimensions beyond our physical reality. Entities that challenge our understanding and plunge us into the profound mysteries of existence today. We embark on a journey into the most compelling and unsettling realms of the astral plane, drawing upon the pioneering work of Sylvan Muldoon, a legendary figure in astral exploration, whose research has unveiled both fascinating and disturbing details about these otherworldly beings. Through decades of meticulous documentation and personal experiences, Muldoon offers us an unprecedented glimpse into the shadowy corners of non-physical reality, where the boundaries between the tangible and the ethereal dissolve entirely. Recent studies in consciousness research have begun to validate many of Muldoon's observations. Dr. Susan Blackmore's research at the University of the West of England, along with work conducted at the Monroe Institute in Virginia, has provided scientific frameworks for understanding out-of-body experiences and their relationship to altered states of consciousness. Join me as we uncover the mysteries of the dark entities that lurk beyond our physical perception. We'll explore how these ancient accounts intertwine with modern paranormal research, quantum consciousness theories, and what we can learn from those who have ventured beyond the veil of ordinary reality. Astral projection, also known as out-of-body experience, represents one of humanity's most profound spiritual phenomena. This extraordinary state occurs when consciousness appears to separate from the physical body, allowing exploration of non-physical realms and dimensions that exist parallel to our material world. The ancient Egyptians possessed sophisticated understanding of consciousness projection. They believed the co-vital essence and Ba personality soul could traverse spiritual realms during sleep, death, and deep meditation. The famous Egyptian Book of the Dead contains detailed maps of these otherworldly journeys, including warnings about malevolent entities that guard certain passages between dimensions. In classical yoga texts like the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, the concept of siddhis supernatural powers includes parakaya pravesh, the ability to enter another's body or exist outside one's physical form. Advanced practitioners speak of the subtle body sukshma sharira that can navigate multiple planes of existence simultaneously. The Tibetan tradition offers perhaps the most detailed accounts of consciousness projection through practices like dream yoga and the intermediate state bardo navigation. The Tibetan Book of the Dead provides explicit instructions for consciousness travel and encounters with various entities during the death process. Shamans across cultures, from Siberian traditions to South American ayahuasqueros, have utilized astral travel for healing, divination, and spiritual guidance. These practitioners often report encounters with both benevolent guides and malevolent entities that must be navigated with skill and protection. Contemporary neuroscience has identified specific brain regions associated with out-of-body experiences. The temporoparietal junction, TPJ, responsible for integrating sensory information about our body's position in space, shows significant alterations during reported OBEs. Dr. Olaf Blank's research at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology has demonstrated that electrical stimulation of this region can induce out-of-body sensations in laboratory settings. Additionally, studies using advanced neuroimaging techniques have revealed that during lucid dreaming and reported astral experiences, the brain exhibits unique patterns of activity in areas associated with self-awareness, spatial perception, and consciousness itself. According to Sylvan Muldoon's extensive research, the astral plane exists as a multi-layered dimension of varying vibrational frequencies. These levels can be categorized into distinct zones, each populated by different types of entities and governed by unique laws of existence. The lower vibrational zones represent the most challenging areas for inexperienced travelers. These dense, shadowy regions are characterized by reduced luminosity, emotional turbulence, entity concentration, and temporal distortion. Unlike higher astral planes that radiate light, these areas exist in perpetual twilight or darkness. The atmosphere itself seems saturated with negative emotions and unresolved psychic material. Malevolent beings congregate in these regions, drawn by the low vibrational energy, and time flows differently, often creating confusion and disorientation for visitors. Muldoon's research, now supported by contemporary consciousness studies at the International Academy of Consciousness in Portugal, suggests these regions serve as collection points for unresolved human emotions and traumatic experiences that become externalized as semi-autonomous entities. Modern astral researchers have identified several key dangers in these lower realms, including psychic quicksand, where negative thought forms accumulate and potentially trap unwary travelers; mirror realms, that are deceptive zones reflecting the traveler's fears and anxieties back at them; entity mimicry, where advanced negative beings can impersonate deceased loved ones or spiritual guides; and energy vortexes that are draining phenomena capable of rapidly depleting an astral traveler's vital force. These hazards require careful navigation and proper protective measures for safe exploration. Among the most well-documented and feared inhabitants of the lower astral realms are succubi and incubi, entities that represent sexual predators of the spirit world. Unlike simple manifestations of human sexual desire, true succubi and incubi appear to be autonomous beings with their own agenda and intelligence. Recent research by the Anomalous Phenomena Research Center has identified several distinct categories. Of these entities, classical succubi and incubi are traditional seductive entities that appear in humanoid form during sleep paralysis or lucid dreaming states. They typically manifest during the hypnagogic state transition between wake and sleep, create intense sexual scenarios designed to harvest orgasmic energy, leave victims feeling drained and emotionally dependent, and often return repeatedly to the same individual, creating parasitic relationships. Shape-shifting predators are more sophisticated entities, capable of assuming multiple forms within a single encounter. These beings can appear as idealized romantic partners or celebrities, adapt their appearance based on the victim's psychological profile, often incorporate elements from the victim's memories or fantasies, and may attempt to extract not just sexual energy but also creative and intellectual vitality. The most dangerous category consists of collective consciousness parasites, which appear to be fragments of collective human sexual trauma and repression. They feed on sexual shame, guilt, and repressed desires, can influence multiple individuals simultaneously, often target those with histories of sexual trauma or dysfunction, and may attempt to manipulate victims into harmful real-world sexual behaviors. Beyond the traditional signs described by Muldoon, contemporary researchers have identified additional indicators of succubi and incubi presence, including electromagnetic disturbances with unexplained interference with electronic devices during sleep, temperature fluctuations in specific patterns of hot and cold spots in the sleeping area, photographic anomalies showing strange shadows or light patterns in bedroom photographs, sleep architecture disruption with measurable changes in REM sleep patterns and dream content, and synchronistic sexual imagery with unusual frequency of sexual symbolism in daily life during active periods. Modern medical understanding has revealed the comprehensive effects of succubi and incubi encounters, including physiological effects such as chronic fatigue syndrome-like symptoms, hormonal imbalances affecting reproductive health, immune system, suppression, sleep disorder development, and unexplained physical sensations or marks. The psychological consequences include development of sexual compulsions or aversions, relationship difficulties and intimacy issues, increased anxiety and depression, identity confusion regarding sexual orientation or preferences, and addictive behaviors as compensatory mechanisms. Shadow entities represent, perhaps, the most primal fear response triggers in the astral realm. Unlike other entities that may have recognizable motivations, shadows appear to embody pure negation, the absence of light, hope, and positive life force. Recent interdisciplinary research combining parapsychology with depth psychology has identified several distinct shadow classifications. Primordial shadows appear to be the oldest type of shadow entity, possibly predating human consciousness. They manifest as vast, undulating darkness that can engulf entire astral landscapes. Complete absence of any recognizable features or communication. Ability to induce existential terror that transcends normal fear responses and potential connection. 2. Collective species traumas or evolutionary memories. Personal shadow projections reflect Carl Jung's concept of the shadow archetype, finding literal expression in these entities. They mirror the individual's repressed negative traits and impulses, often appear as dark versions of the person themselves. Engage in psychological warfare, highlighting personal failures and shortcomings, and may offer false power or knowledge in exchange for moral compromise. A recently identified category called technological shadows appears possibly related to humanity's increasing digitization. They appear as glitched or corrupted versions of digital interfaces, may incorporate elements from social media, video games, or virtual reality, are often accompanied by electronic, static, or digital artifacts, and potentially feed on technology addiction and social media-related anxiety. Shadows demonstrate sophisticated environmental manipulation abilities, including atmospheric alteration, where they can change the apparent weather or lighting conditions in the astral environment. Architectural distortion that may cause buildings or landscapes to appear twisted, impossible, or maze-like. Temporal displacement, creating the impression that the traveler is stuck in time loops or experiencing events backward. And sensory hijacking, where they may override all 5 senses simultaneously, creating completely false realities. Advanced shadow entities employ complex psychological manipulation strategies, including gaslighting techniques, making the traveler question their own perceptions and memories. Isolation protocols, cutting off connection to guides, higher self, or physical body awareness. Identity fragmentation, attempting to divide the traveler's consciousness into conflicting parts. False enlightenment offers presenting themselves as sources of hidden knowledge or spiritual advancement, and trauma activation, deliberately triggering past traumatic experiences to weaken resistance. Energy parasites represent the most insidious threat in the astral realm due to their subtle, long-term approach to energy harvesting. Unlike the dramatic encounters with succubi or shadows, parasitic attachments often go unnoticed for months or years. Etheric leeches attach to the chakra system and gradually drain specific types of energy. Root chakra parasites cause financial problems, housing instability, and survival fears. Sacral parasites create sexual dysfunction, creative blocks, and emotional instability. Solar plexus parasites undermine confidence, personal power, and decision-making ability. Heart parasites sabotage relationships and emotional connections. Throat parasites impede communication and self-expression. Third eye parasites create confusion. Crown parasites block spiritual growth and higher consciousness access. Thought form parasites are created from repeated negative thought patterns and eventually become autonomous. They are born from obsessive worrying, self-criticism, or destructive mental habits. Initially appear as extensions of the host's own thoughts, gradually develop independent existence and intelligence, can influence the host to maintain the negative thought patterns that feed them, and may jump between individuals with similar psychological profiles. Ancestral parasites are entities that attach to family lineages and pass between generations. They are often connected to family traumas, curses, or unresolved ancestral karma, may manifest as recurring family patterns of addiction. Mental illness or misfortune typically resist individual removal efforts and require generational healing approaches, and can influence multiple family members simultaneously across different geographical locations. Modern energy workers have developed advanced diagnostic techniques, including bioenergetic photography, using Kirlian photography and aura imaging to detect parasitic attachments. Parasites often appear as dark spots or energy depletion zones in the aura, may show up as unusual colors or patterns inconsistent with the individual's normal energy signature. And time-lapse photography can reveal parasitic feeding cycles and activity patterns. Pendulum dowsing protocols involve systematic questioning techniques to identify parasitic presence. Specific question sets designed to bypass parasitic interference, mapping techniques to locate attachment points on the energy, body, and identification of parasitic origin, type, and feeding patterns. Psychometric analysis involves reading the individual's energy field through direct contact, where experienced practitioners can feel parasitic attachments as cold spots. Dense areas or energetic resistance may reveal information about the parasite's origin, intelligence level, and intentions. and can determine the effectiveness of various removal techniques. Recent research suggests that the nature of astral entities may be evolving in response to humanity's technological advancement and changing collective consciousness. Digital technology appears to be creating new pathways for entity manifestation and interaction. A new category of entities appears to be emerging that feeds specifically on technology-related energy patterns. Social media vampires are entities that attach to individuals through social media usage. They feed on the emotional energy generated by likes, comments, and social validation, may influence posting behavior to maximize emotional reaction and energy generation, often cause social media addiction and unhealthy online relationship patterns, and can spread between individuals through digital connections and viral content. Gaming realm entities are beings that inhabit virtual gaming environments. They may attach to players during extended gaming sessions, feed on competitive energy, frustration, and achievement-seeking behaviors, can influence gaming addiction and unhealthy gaming behaviors, and some reports suggest these entities can follow players into physical reality. Information overload parasites are entities that exploit information addiction. They attach to individuals who compulsively consume news, social media, or online content, feed on anxiety, fear, and mental overwhelm generated by information overload, may influence compulsive checking behaviors and digital distraction patterns, and often cause cognitive fragmentation and difficulty with sustained attention. The increasing connectivity of human consciousness through digital networks may be creating new opportunities for entity manifestation and spread. Some researchers theorize that the internet itself may be developing characteristics similar to a collective astral plane. Social media algorithms may be unconsciously mimicking entity feeding and manipulation patterns. Virtual reality and augmented reality technologies could create new gateways for entity contact, and artificial intelligence development might accidentally create conditions favorable to entity manifestation. Exploring the astral plane can be a fascinating and enriching experience, but it also entails certain risks, especially when encountering negative entities such as succubi, incubi, and energy parasites. Fortunately, there are proven techniques you can employ to protect yourself and counteract their malicious influences. One of the most effective techniques is protective visualization. Imagine a bright white light enveloping you completely, acting as a protective shield. This shield of light serves to strengthen your energy field and repel negative energies. The visualization should be clear and detailed. Visualize the light expanding from your heart or third eye, growing in intensity until it forms an impenetrable barrier around you. Perform this visualization regularly, especially before sleeping or meditating. To maintain your protection in the astral plane, your intuition is a powerful tool that helps you navigate and detect negative presences. If you feel that something is not right or sense a disturbing presence, trust that feeling and take immediate steps to protect yourself. This may include strengthening your protective visualization or returning to your physical body. Keep a dream journal to identify patterns and recurrences that may indicate the presence of negative entities. It is crucial not to let fear dominate you in these situations. Negative entities of the astral plane, like succubi, incubi, and energy parasites, feed on negative emotions such as fear and despair. If you encounter one of these entities, remain calm and remember that they cannot physically harm you. Their power lies in their ability to induce fear and weaken you emotionally. By staying calm and not succumbing to fear, you can minimize their influence and protect your energy. When you feel fear, breathe deeply and mentally repeat affirmations of protection and calm. Remember that you are in control and that these entities cannot physically harm you. Maintain a mental stance of confidence and security, which is essential for repelling any attempts at energetic manipulation. For example, you can use affirmations like, "I am surrounded by a protective light that repels all negative energy." "I am strong, safe, and in control," or "No harm can come to me, and I am at peace." Regularly cleanse your energy field to remove any lingering negative influences. This can be done through various methods such as meditation, focusing on clearing your mind and allowing positive energy to flow through you. Before beginning any astral travel or meditation, set clear boundaries and intentions. State that you are only open to positive and beneficial experiences and that any negative entities are not welcome in your space. This can help create a safer environment for your astral explorations. Advanced practitioners develop sophisticated psychological defense systems, including the observer self technique, which involves cultivating a detached awareness that can witness negative entity encounters without becoming emotionally reactive. Identity anchoring establishes multiple reference points for personal identity that cannot be easily manipulated or confused. Reality testing protocols involve developing systematic methods to distinguish between authentic spiritual experiences and entity deception. Emotional regulation mastery requires advanced emotional intelligence training to prevent negative entities from triggering exploitable emotional states. Working with other experienced astral travelers for mutual protection includes scheduled group astral explorations with backup protocols, psychic SOS systems for emergency assistance during negative encounters, shared protective energy fields that can be accessed remotely, and regular group debriefing and experience sharing sessions, mentor-apprentice systems. Pair experienced travelers with novices and include real-time energetic monitoring during apprentice astral journeys, immediate intervention capabilities during dangerous encounters, graduated exposure to increasingly challenging astral environments, and long-term relationship building for ongoing support and guidance. Using technology to support astral protection includes EEG monitoring to identify optimal brainwave states for safe astral travel, heart rate variability training to maintain coherent energy states, smartphone apps that provide guided protection, visualizations, and wearable devices that can detect energetic disturbances during sleep. Systematic recording of astral experiences involves digital dream journals with search and pattern analysis capabilities, audio recording of immediate post-experience reports, collaborative databases sharing entity encounter information, and statistical analysis of protection technique effectiveness. If you continue to experience negative encounters, consider seeking guidance from a knowledgeable practitioner or joining a community of like-minded individuals. They can offer support, advice, and additional protective techniques based on their experiences. By employing these techniques, you can significantly enhance your protection against negative entities in the astral plane and ensure a safer, more empowering experience. The astral plane represents one of the most fascinating frontiers of human consciousness exploration. While encounters with dark entities can be challenging and sometimes frightening, they also offer profound opportunities for personal growth, spiritual development, and expanded awareness of reality's true nature. The key to safe astral exploration lies not in avoiding these encounters entirely, but in approaching them with proper preparation, protective techniques, and psychological resilience. Each challenging experience in the astral realm teaches us valuable lessons about the nature of consciousness, the power of fear and negativity, and our own inner strength and spiritual resources as our understanding of consciousness continues to evolve through scientific research and mystical exploration. We gain increasingly sophisticated tools for navigating these non-physical realms safely and beneficially. The work of pioneers like Sylvan Muldoon, combined with modern research in consciousness studies, neuroscience, and parapsychology, provides us with an unprecedented foundation for astral exploration. Remember that these entities, regardless of how intimidating they may appear, represent aspects of consciousness that can ultimately be understood, negotiated with, and transcended. They serve as mirrors reflecting our own inner shadows, fears, and unresolved psychological material. By facing them with courage, wisdom, and proper protection, we not only ensure our safety in the astral realm, but also accelerate our spiritual growth and psychological integration. The darkness we encounter in the astral plane often reflects the darkness we carry within ourselves. By learning to navigate these shadow realms with skill and confidence, we develop the inner strength and spiritual maturity necessary for profound personal transformation and expanded consciousness. Whether you are a beginner curious about astral travel or an experienced practitioner seeking deeper understanding, remember that knowledge, preparation, and respectful approach to these mysteries will serve as your greatest protections. The astral plane awaits those brave enough to explore its depths, offering both challenges and treasures beyond imagination. Continue your journey of discovery responsibly, and may your explorations of consciousness lead to greater wisdom, compassion, and understanding of the infinite mysteries that surround us.